What is going on, everyone? Chem Coop here. You guys know what time it is. It's the weekend. What weekend means? We got some draft league content. So, here we are. Last week, end of the regular season. Spoilers, we're in playoffs. I mean, it's pretty obvious given we end up with an 8-4 record, and half the teams in the league make playoffs. Obviously, if we're 8-4, we're well above 6-6. So 6-6 is probably about the cutoff for playoffs. So 8-4, we're obviously in playoffs. However, if you missed last week, we were in very high contention for getting one of the first round buys. However, unfortunately, in our Week 12 game, we ended up with a bad enough differential loss that we ended up just missing out on the first round bye. So we do have to play this week. But that's okay, because I get to bring you guys another battle. So we got some more content, and you get to see the team in action one more time. So, spoilers, as you can see from my team builder, you can see my MOLTRES actually has a nickname for once. And you can see it's called 5-8 MVP. So what that's about, so all the coaches actually had to vote for end of season awards. Now that we're in playoffs, regular season is done. So all of the awards based on regular season performance are or were put in. And your favorite fire chicken, I was going to say your favorite boy, but you know, your favorite fire chicken thing, MOLTRES, actually ended up picking up the MVP award for Pokemon in point tiers from 5 through 8 points, which is pretty awesome. It didn't have the best record, I think, in terms of kill-death ratio or the number of trophies. Trophies are given based on, I guess, how important the Pokemon that was KO'd was. So something like, if you KO something like Diancie, you'll get more trophies than if you KO something like Stunfisk. That's the first Pokemon I can think of that was garbage. So, Mega Diancie versus Stunfisk. Mega Diancie is going to give you more trophies. So, trophies gives you a measure of how good that Pokemon really performed relative to its point value. So, if you have a much higher trophy value, then you KO'd a lot of Pokemon that are quote-unquote better than you. So, that's pretty nice usage for that Pokemon. So, MOLTRES didn't have the most outstanding stats in that regard. Like, it was close for the total number of kills and the total number of trophies for MOLTRES, but I think the other coaches just voted for MOLTRES just because it did put in some massive work in a lot of clutch games this season, and it was definitely a really solid bring for me all season. So figured had to try and work it into my build this week, get the birds some more action as we take on Coach Bloopy and the Olympia Beartics in our round 1 playoff game. So without further ado, enough talk, let's get into our team breakdown and the team builder. So looking at Bloopy's team, he's got some scary Pokemon, a lot of like UU type build feel is kind of what I got out of this. Like when I think about my days playing UU, kind of terrorized by regular Scizor, Hydreigon, like I think Chandelure's up there too. So he just has a lot of like UU type Pokemon, except instead of regular Scizor, he's got Mega Scizor, which obviously is like a really good Pokemon in OU. So yeah, he's got some nice Volt turn options, primarily just turn options, but yeah. Scizor picking up U-turn, Hydreigon U-turn, Gligar U-turn, Azelf U-turn, Comfey gets U-turn, Passimian gets U-turn. So yeah, this is like U-turn the team. So he can just click U-turn and try to get himself into better and better positions, which is very nice, especially when you have stuff like Dugtrio to try and trap grounded Pokemon. And particularly, it's really nice with Mega Scizor because if you think about stuff that like really likes to beat Mega Scizor, you actually got stuff like Magneton and Magnezone with Magnet Pull that like to trap Mega Scizor and like then just HP fire it out of the game and hooray. But if they do that, then they get trapped by Dugtrio and get KO'd by Dugtrio. So Dugtrio is definitely nice for trying to trap some of those fire types. Obviously talking about the Magnet Pullers was one example, but just grounded fire types in general. If you can U-turn out as they come in, you can trap them with Dugtrio and get rid of them. So Dugtrio is pretty cool Pokemon. And yeah, Scizor and Hydreigon, both like relatively bulky and pretty hard hitting options, and then just a lot of bulk in Milotic and Gligar. Those are two very, very fat Pokemon. nice utility. Mon and Azelf can be physical attacker, special attacker, nasty plot, focus dash, stealth rock lead. It's a good scarfer, has great speeds here, so it just does a lot of stuff, you know. Comfy, another nice Pokemon with triage ability, getting some priority fairy type moves, as well as just getting some nice Calm Mind, good speeds here, okay special attack. It's like an interesting Pokemon, you can definitely put in some work. I already talked about Dugtrio, Chandelure, massive special attack. This thing hits so hard and just has a really nice stab combination. Ghost's not really resisted by a lot, same for fire, so yeah, it's just a really great attacker with huge special attack stat. Bloopy actually used Chandelure extremely well this season. I think his Chandelure actually picked up the 9 through 12 point MVP, so yeah, he definitely knows how to use his Chandelure, so I've got to be afraid of that thing. Ditto, obviously, just a nice anti-revenge or anti-sweeper Pokemon. Passimian, good choice scarf. User with U-turn, close combat, knockoff, rock slide. Gets a nice variety of coverage moves that make it a good scarfer. Hits pretty hard. Leavanny got some nice sticky web options if he decides to bring it. He hasn't actually brought Leavanny this entire season, so I'm leaning towards not coming, especially when I have a magic bouncer, as well as a number of decent hazard removal options. So kind of leaning towards no Leavanny. And then Gloom, he's actually picked up Gloom, and he actually brought it a few times this season. As you can see at the very bottom, it's actually a status C user, and he's brought it and like had some success with it, just spreading Strength Sap, Stun Spore, Leech Seed, that sort of stuff. It's actually kind of an annoying Pokemon to take down. It's a nice water resist for his team. So yeah, that's pretty much his team. Let's go ahead and get into what I think he's going to bring. Dugtrio is 100% coming. When I have stuff like Mega Diancie, that's like your best way of getting rid of that Pokemon. So yeah, I got Magneton, which is definitely a possibility for me to bring against a Mega Scizor, and a Diancie, which is like, Diancie's actually pretty good against this team. If you're looking at Chandelure, Passimian, Hydreigon, that sort of stuff. Moonblast is pretty free. So yeah, Diancie's good for me, so I definitely feel like he'll bring Dugtrio to try and trap it. Dugtrio was a Pokemon that I 100% felt was coming. And then just given how well he's used some of his other stuff like Chandelure, I felt like something like Dugtrio, Chandelure, Scizor, Hydreigon, Milotic, Gligar could come. But I definitely had some preparations for stuff like Azelf, Comfy, Ditto, Passimian, as you will see in the team builder. So those are really the main 6 I was focused against, but I did include some other options for dealing with some of his other Pokemon that I didn't feel were quite as good in this matchup, but that he could certainly bring. So with that, let us go ahead and get into our team builder and talk about what we brought and why we brought it. So I originally had a more offensive Mega Diancie. You can see from the set, we're rocking 166 speed, which allows us to outrun the max speed Hydreigon. And actually, I gave it a few extra points, I think, for... I think I actually gave it a few more points for Comfy. And then I was 252 special attack and then the rest 10th in HP, but then I thought about it and I was like, what if I can actually prevent the Dugtrio from really trapping this thing 100% of the time? And so I actually gave it enough HP to live Earthquake from Jolly Dugtrio, because if he runs Adamant, I'd be faster with it with max HP, so I felt like he'd run Jolly. So I gave it enough HP to live Jolly Earthquake 100%, and then like Moonblast is like 90, it was like a 70% roll to KO with Moonblast against like 80 HP Dugtrio, which is what you can invest into HP if you're just running enough speed to outspeed the Diancie. If you're running 350, I think it's 352 speed the way the math works out for Dugtrio, but if you're running 352 as a real speed value, that's like 176 EVs, 252 in attack, and then like 80 left over to put in HP. So Moonblast is like a 70% roll in that, so that's why I was running the bulkier Diancie this time, and also just like can take hits better from random stuff like Passimian. So yeah, that's really what that was there for. Got Moonblast. Obviously, I mean, you can't leave out Moonblast, such a phenomenal stab move, very few resists, so yeah, Power Gem there, taking out Chandelure, and also just like a good neutral option to click against his team, and then HP Ice to make sure I can take out the Gligar after a little bit of chip. Thought about running HP Fire for the Scizor, but obviously you can see I'm running Moltres. Moltres is like one of the best switch-ins to make a Scizor in all of Pokemon, since it resists Bullet Punch and it resists U-turn, so Moltres is super good Pokemon against Mega Scizor, so I felt like I didn't need to predict Scizor coming in on Diancie and run HP Fire. I felt like running HP Ice to make sure I can take out Gligar would probably be better for me. So yeah, that's our Diancie. We were packing Magnet Rise just in case I got Diancie in against Gligar. I could Magnet Rise on that and then be safe from Gligar. Or if I had Diancie and get something that couldn't KO it, I could Magnet Rise, get my KO, and then Dugtrio couldn't trap me because I'd be Magnet Rising, and it couldn't Earthquake me, obviously, and Dugtrio doesn't get anything like Iron Head, so yeah. That's our Diancie. Our Tier 1 pick coming to every single game this season, so of course it's got to come to playoffs. Our next one, so my game plan here, I was thinking, I talked with someone else about what kind of team I should bring, and he was suggesting bringing a lot of my fatter Pokemon. But I'm kind of tired of running all my fat stuff, and I felt like it was time to start bringing some hammers. Because looking at my opponent's team, he has some bulk in Milotic and Gligar, but neither one of those things can really switch into Heracross. Nothing on his team really switches into Heracross, and nothing really switches into Fly-Z Moltres. So I was like, let me bring some hammers here. If I can punch through his walls early game, this game's going to be really trivial to start taking out his offensive Pokemon in the late game if I can wall break early. So that's where the Heracross Moltres combo comes in. We got Heracross with Flame Orb Guts. If I can get Heracross for free in on a double, get that Flame Orb activated, we are going to be ready to start hitting some stuff. We got enough speed for the Milotic, max speed Milotic. So Bloopy is absolutely, this guy is a madman. He ran like really fast HP flying Milotic earlier in the season and just OHKO to Breloom, which is like such an incredibly sick play on his part. Like major props to him for that. But you know, I wasn't taking that risk with my Heracross, so I made sure I was faster than the 81 base speed Milotic, because I am not getting memed by HP flying Milotic without getting hit off on it first. And then the rest, of course, in attack and then HP is the dump stat. So I didn't feel like I needed Mega Horn here. Like close combat just obliterates everybody, and then knockoff Facade is probably like my best combo for my other two moves. I wanted Swords Dance just to make sure I could really just break through everything if I needed to. Like +2 close combat, I'm pretty sure OHKO's Mega Scizor, like assuming it's not like physically defensive. If it's just like max HP, I'm pretty sure +2 close combat just OHKO's it. So close combat just bops everybody. Knockoff, awesome for protecting stuff like Chandelure, or just getting off nice damage on Gligar or Zelf, knocking off their item. Always super valuable. And then Facade is just a really nice neutral option, obviously becoming the base 140 normal type move. Plus, of course, I'm getting the Guts boost. So yeah, that just hits extremely hard, and it's just great neutral coverage for stuff that's going to resist, you know, bug or fighting type moves. This Facade it's just a really strong neutral move that hits stuff that thinks they can switch into Heracross. So yeah, that's our Heracross, one of our big wall breakers this week, paired with our MVP of this team, Moltres. Rocking the fly name Z, taking advantage of the fact that it is one of my Z captains. We're running Flame Body over Pressure because I can bring it in on stuff like Scizor, Warp Simian U-turns, and hopefully get a burn off on them, which is just really going to cripple them. Of course, we're running Dual Stabs, Fire Blast, Hurricane, of course being my Fly Z option. It's a lot better than Z Air Slash in terms of power. So even though Hurricane itself misses, clicking Z Hurricane, oh, that's clean right there. And then we're running HP Ice for Gligar just to make sure, even if you run something like Spidef Gligar, we can just KO with Fire Blast into HP Ice 100%. Roost is there just to improve my longevity. Max special attack, a little bit of HP, and then enough speed to outrun my Milotic on this thing, I think, as well. Yeah. So those are our two hammers. Really are three hammers between Diancie, Heracross, and Moltres, our big hitters. Now we got some bulkier Pokemon. In our bottom half of our team, got Snorlax here, bringing the Recycle Curse set again this week. This time we're running Frustration and Pursuit. So the reason I'm running Frustration over Return is because there's a Ditto there, and I feel like if Bloopy were to bring the Ditto, he'd be more likely to just bring a standard max HP Ditto, because that's what Showdown defaults to. So if he brings max Happiness Ditto, and like copies my Snorlax that's cursed up, his frustration is going to do nothing. So that's why we're running frustration this week. Pursuit is there just for Chandelure and Azelf really. If I can get Snorlax in on either of those two guys, which are primarily special attackers, I can try and Pursuit trap them. As you can see, I'm a lot of HP investment and then literally max special defense. So this Snorlax is going to take like nothing from either of these goons. And so if Bloopy like sees the damage, sees that his Chandelure does like 28% to my Snorlax with Fire Blast, he's gonna be like, oh, I shouldn't stay in because this thing can Earthquake me. And then he tries to switch out, I pursued it, I get off like 60% on the Chandelure, and that thing can no longer come in on any attack. So that's where I'm running Pursuit locks. It's kind of random, but I figured trying to Pursuit trap his Elf and Chandelure would be super nice in this game. If he did decide to bring his Elf, I wasn't too sure on that, but if he did bring his Elf, we could Pursuit trap it, that'd be great. And then of course Frustration Curse, eventually it's just going to get too powerful and just start hitting everybody. So that's our lax. Really there's just a bunch of hits from Azelf, Hydreigon, and Chandelure. Obviously it is kind of bait for Passimian, but we'll deal with that if he does bring it. And we have other options for it, so yeah. Our next Pokemon we got Latias racking the Habanberry actually. So normally you see Latias with the Colbur, take those knockoffs, take those sorts of hits, but I actually wanted to run Habanberry because Latias has some nice natural bulk. So it will actually eat a Dark Pulse from a non-Specs Hydreigon. And what more on, like, you know, doesn't run a Latias faster than Hydreigon. So yeah, so we got enough speed for the Hydreigon. So if he is running Scarf, we will live the Scarf Dark Pulse and then we can kill it with Draco Meteor. If he goes for a Draco Meteor against my Latias, Hyperthink, we have the Habanberry, we will live the Draco Meteor and then we can KO the Hydreigon with Draco Meteor of our own, assuming we hit. So, yeah, so this Latias is just a really nice pivot for me. Be able to switch into Dugtrio pretty nicely. Dugtrio can't really do a lot. Passimian, clicking close combat. And just like a decent like mid-year response to my Lodic and Gligar is also pretty nice, so. That's really the main reason I decided to bring Latias. We just got 3 attacks here with Roost for, like I said, longevity, but Stabs and Draco Meteor Psychic, and then Hidden Power Fire for the Scizor. This thing isn't really that strong, and it's really not going to just pound through my opponent's team like Heracross or Moltres can, but it does just give us a nice pivot with some offensive presence. So that's really the main reason I brought Latias, and also just the fact that I don't think I've lost when I brought Latias, so hopefully this is a good luck charm that continues into this game. And finally, our last Pokemon, I was really going back and forth on what to bring here. I was kind of thinking Skuntank for the Pursuit trap, but and running like a more normal Snorlax set, but eventually I just decided to run, I was also thinking Ferrothorn, but then of course I just decided to run Pursuit on my Snorlax over like Fire Punch, and decided not to run Ferrothorn or Golisopod or Quagsire, all of those I was throwing around. Just opted to run Blastoise, that way I could Rapid Spin here. Because I really want to have Rapid Spin support for my Moltres to make sure it can do as much work as possible. As well as just the fact that Blastoise is like a pretty solid Pokemon against him overall. With the Scald Refresh Toxic set, we can like kind of beat my Lodic 1v1, because if my Lodic Toxics me, I can just clear his Toxic off of me and I can Toxic him back. He probably has Refresh too, but we can stall each other out of Toxics, and I can stall him out of Scalds and that sort of stuff, which is just nice to have a dedicated switch into that Milotic, because that thing could be kind of annoying potentially. And then if you look at his team, Scizor doesn't want to switch into Scalds, Gligar doesn't want to just switch into Scalds, Azelf is really not bulky enough to switch into Scalds, Dugtrio can't, Chandelure can't, Passimian doesn't want to get burned, all this stuff. So I figured Blastoise, it's like not a bad option. Just clicking Scald is always a beautiful thing, and if I can Rapid Spin away either webs or rocks from Dugtrio or Gligar setting them, or Leavanny setting webs, I figured that would also be super beneficial for me winning this game. So yeah, wow, that was an incredibly long team builder and breakdown, but if you guys skip this, it's fine. We're gonna go ahead and get into the battle. I will just go ahead and mark that the battle starts at 1920 or so. But without further ado, let us go ahead and get into this game, my friends. Welcome to playoffs, baby. Alright, here we are. Got Bloopy's team, got my team. Guess a team builder, hopefully. If not, you're just watching the battle. I'll tell you all the sets. So, Yeah, Bloopy brought some interesting stuff. I was honestly kind of shocked. There was no Mega Scizor. There was no Hydreigon. There was a Milotic. There was a Gligar. So I was like, okay, I got those right. I got the Dugtrio right. But then Passimian, like, I could see that thing coming. Zelf I could see coming, but he brought the Gloom. I was like, oh no, I don't really have a switch into Gloom. Like, anything that I really want, getting Stun Spored or Sleep Powdered or whatever. So I was like, yo, this Gloom's going to be terrifying. Yeah. But other than that, you know, the big things being the Gligar and the Milotic, I expected him, in the Dugtrio, I expected him to bring those things, and those were the things I was probably most worried about being able to KO. So I felt like team was pretty good here. Looking at the matchup, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to lead. I felt like he'd probably lead to Zelf because if running Focus Sash lead, it's like obviously your dedicated lead, and it's a really solid rocker against me. And Zelf is just a scary Pokemon because obviously it gets the Psychic moves, but it also gets some really nice physical moves. Like it gets Knockoff, it gets Explosion, it gets U-Turn. You can run like Hidden Power, Steel on this for Diancie. So all these things were kind of going through my head, and I was like, well, I don't want Diancie to get HP Steeled. I don't want Moltres to get like exploded on or HP rocked. I don't want Snorlax to get knocked off. I don't really, well, Latias getting knocked off is okay, I guess. Obviously I can't let Heracross get Psychic moves, so I was kind of debating between leading Latias and Blastoise, but I figured Blastoise is probably my safest overall lead. Like, he doesn't really have anything that can threaten it turn 1, other than like the Gloom. The Gloom, that terrifying Pokemon. So I just ended up leading Blastoise here. I figured that was probably my safest lead overall. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get into this game. So as I said, we'll lead off with my Blastoise, as we do see the Azelf lead, so I'm like, okay, great. He is just going to throw off a U-turn here, and looking at the damage, this tells me that this is not offensively, like, attack invested Azelf. He's probably just 0 attack, maybe like Hasty Nature Azelf, because it didn't look like minus attack damage, but it did look like 0 attack Azelf. So he just U-turns out, returns out into his Gloom. Obviously, it's a really good response to my Blastoise. I throw off a Scald, do not get with burn. And here, I thought about this play for a little bit because I was like, man, this is kind of scary. I really don't want this Gloom just putting something to sleep or stun sporing something. So I was like, yikes, this is not good. So I had to kind of think about what my most expendable member was. And I decided, you know, actually, this Blastoise, I don't think he's going to Giga Drain here. I think he's just going to go for a status move turn 1. So I'm just going to throw off another Scald, see if I can get a burn, and try and bait out a Sleep Powder or a Stun Spore from him. As he just go for the Leech Seed, I was like, okay. He just Leech Seed here. I feel like now is the turn you Giga Drain. So I'm going to go out into my Latias here. I thought about this play a little bit more just because I really don't want any of my big hitters getting punished with Sleep Powder or a Stun Spore. So looking at the matchup, I was like, you know, Latias is good, but it's really not like, I don't absolutely need it, so I'm going to risk my Latias here. I figure that's probably the safest thing to risk. I go out to Latias as Bloopy does just throw off another Leech Seed, so good play on him, going for the double Leech. Now here I was like, okay, I got Latias in versus Gloom. You're crazy if you stay in with Gloom against Latias and you just let me Psychic this, because then you really don't switch in one of the Blastoise other than your Milotic. So I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going to switch here. I think this might be a good chance for me to try and get my Heracross's Flame Orb activated. Because I do expect, like, if you're going to switch anything into Latias here on this team, it's probably going to be Milotic or Gligar. Milotic probably being better because Latias can't pack Ice Beam for the Gligar. So I was like, yeah, I think he's going to bring Milotic in here against my Latias. So let me get my Heracross in and see if I can just punch through this Milotic early game. So I'm going to, what was that, a triple switch? Yeah. I guess that's just a double, right? Yeah, it's just a double switch. Yeah, so pull the double switch out into my Heracross here, as he does in fact bring in my Milotic. Flame Orb activates. Let's start killing stuff. So, yeah, I can just click Close Combat here. He really doesn't have anything that can take Close Combat into Facade or Knockoff. So I'm just gonna throw off Close Combat here. I was considering SDing here, but then I was like, oh, and then I remember the HP flying Milotic, and I was like, oh no, I'm not getting killed by HP flying Milotic without doing some damage. So I just decided to click Close Combat here. Oh my god, it did 92, dude. What? Have you ever seen a Milotic take 92% from a physical attack? So that tells me he spit off Milotic if it took 92, but he just throws off, he doesn't even attack here, he just throws off Recover to see what I was gonna do. I was like, bro, what if I SD'd? But anyways, that does a ton of damage. He acknowledges in the chat, he's like, oh my gosh, that almost killed me. So he just goes for the cover, gets the leftovers, he's up to 64%. I look at my damage calc, I'm like, oh yeah, Facade kills. Facade's definitely my best play here, because if he goes Gligar, it's getting 2-hit KO'd. Azelf, pretty sure gets O-Code. Dugtrio's getting O-Code. Pretty sure Gloom's going to get 2-hit KO'd. Passimian might get O-Code. I doubt it, though. So I was like, I'm just throwing off Facade here. It should kill this Milotic. So, sure enough, throw off the Facade, and goodbye Milotic. Turn 6, one of his main walls is just dead in the dirt. So I was like, nice. Good job, Heracross. He does bring out the Azelf here, so I figure Psychic Move's coming out here. I go out to Latias here, so he just throw off a U-turn, so good play on him, keeping up the momentum, but this was a hard play for me. I didn't really understand the play here. So he goes Gligar, and when he U-turned with the Azelf, I really felt like the Passimian was coming out, just because if you're running Scarf Passimian, which like I figured on his build he probably was Scarf Passimian, you just like you go Scarf Passimian here and you just get to U-turn again or knock off and knock out the Latias. But in hindsight here, if he is running something like or if he does expect me to be running like Scarf Latias, like obviously you're not going to go out to Passimian. So I think Gligar he just felt like was the safest switch in here. He's just going to go for a U-turn here, so I go for the Roost, obviously revealing that I'm not Scarf, because if you're running Scarf Roost, that's kind of crazy. But he does go for U-turn. I got this thing back to a good amount of HP. Passimian comes in, and here, I figured you were clicking U-turn again with the Latias. Now that Joe not Scarf, you can click U-turn here and knock this thing out, or you're clicking Knock Off to try to KO this guy. And I was like, you know what, this is my chance here. You're not clicking Rock Slide to try and kill the Moltres. You're clicking Knock Off, you're clicking U-turn. I'm getting the bird in. So MVP Bird is in here. It goes to the knockoff, doesn't get burned. Now I'm faster than this thing. Where's your Supersonic Sky Strike switching, bro? We're throwing off the Z move here. Gligar comes out. We hit this thing up with the Sky Strike. Moltres Sky Strikes back. Hidden Power Ice, knock out the Gligar. So we are now on turn 11. His big walls are dead. Really the only bulky Pokemon that's left is the Gloom. And we can hit that thing hard, so yeah. Gligar goes down, Dugtrio comes out. I'm like, okay, Stone Edge is coming out. Let me go to my Blastoise. Makes a good play, goes for the rocks. I'm just going to Rapid Spin these suckers away. As he goes for the Earthquake, risky Earthquake there if I scalded, yikes. But I don't, I just Rapid Spin, and now I can throw off the Scald as the Gloom comes out. I do burn the Gloom on this turn. I crit burn it, which sucks, but whatever. I hit the Gloom up, and now we're going to go Heracross here. Heracross, I figured it's the safest play. He can't status this guy. Yeah, he just can't status it anymore now that I'm burned. So he just goes for the Leech Seed, gets those guys up. Here, I just throw off the Facade. It's going to do a ton to this guy, and does a ton to anything trying to switch in. But he just synthesis up. Good play on his part, as I'm just going to go Moltres here. Makes a really solid play Leech Seeding. He's really calling these switches with the Leech Seed. But here, no Fire Blast switches. I click Fire Blast. Gloom gets O-Code. Bye-bye. So MVP Bird's already picked up 2 KOs here, taking out two of the 3 big walls he's got. But yeah, Dugtrio comes out. Figure the safest play here is probably sacking Latias here. He goes for the Stone Edge, does 2-hit KO, connects another one, knocks me out. So by Latias, it's actually the Latias' first time feigning all season. But yeah, I'm gonna go out to Dugtrio, or go to Blastoise here. Just throw off a Scald. No switch-ins anymore. He goes for the Continental Crush. I live it. Blastoise KOs the Dugtrio. So now it is now 2-5. He's got a Passimian in himself. That's it. Goes for close combat here. Knocks out my Blastoise. This gives me free switching to Diancie. I can just click Moonblast here. Do a ton of damage. Knock out the Passimian if it stays in. Or do a ton to the Azelf. I do 91. And here I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep my Diancie alive with the Passimian here. I got a Snorlax for this Azelf. So if he U-turns, good play. But he does just go for the HP steal, so it's like, yeet, we're getting a Pursuit KO. So yeah, he U-turns out, but he is not going anywhere. This guy's getting pursuited, so bye-bye his elf. And now I'm just going to sack off my Snorlax to the close combat. Passimian drops its stats. Here, guys, you already know, we got to get the MVP, kill number 3 in this game, finish off round 1 of the playoffs. Please hit a Fire Blast, bro. Do not be blind. Hit a Fire Blast. He does reveal to be Scarf, close combat, drops his stats, so Fire Blast is easily a KO. It hits. Goodbye Passimian. Moltres carrying us into round 2 of the playoffs. So, sweet. Good game to Bloopy. That was fun. Seeing the Gloom. Oh, I was really worried about that thing. Thoughts going through my head when that thing came out. I was like, oh, what do I switch into this? I really don't want to risk anything. But, yeah. So, Moltres, great Pokemon. Does what it needs to do. Picks up the dub for us. Shoutouts to the Tier 5 through 8 MVP. And yeah, that's our Week 1 game in the playoffs. We're going to be heading into quarterfinals, where we're going to take on Blitz and the Toronto Tyrantars again. Hopefully we can avenge our Week 12 loss. Yikes. It's going to be tough, but we'll build some heat, and hopefully we can get some revenge. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. That is going to be it for me this week. We'll have some BSPL content coming up a little bit later in the week. I'm playing on Sunday, so probably later Sunday or Monday I will have that up for you guys. So until then, enjoy your weekends, and peace.